Okay.
Okey dokey.
Then we got called order.
Mm-hmm.
Um, So I'll call to order, a meeting of the Albany CSO full communities. Got myself, William Silco here from Albany. Gary and Nathan is going to be representing our employees. We don't have anyone for here in Green Island also. Let's there, we don't have, one smart in the, school here. Sorry, we've got Anthony Goldman and Christine. Lauren Who is not represented today. And, Green Island, we also have Maggie Alex on Zoom. And for colors, you can share about CDRPC, we've got Mark Stabiro and Tom White. And Mike Miller is here for the joint question. So I think we're ready to review the minutes. Which we've already taken numbers. And comments, we'll have a motion for the session minutes. I'll make a motion. Really, can I have a second?
I'll second it.
Andrew, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Motion carries. Financial report by Tom White.
As this is the first financial report for the fiscal year, you'll notice that on pretty much on page one, that everything is zero. Against budget. We have a community's balance of $8,800 roughly, and when we put everything together, cash balance of $25,250. And we have payables going on. That includes 2 bills to CDRPC as well as the insurance bill, because Gallagher screwed up our ability to pay them. So as of the end of October, the insurance bill was not yet paid. However, it was paid just now, the other day. And it was all because of the insurance agency having some problem with their website allowing us to pay. So that's why the accounts payable is so high vis-a-vis what it usually is. And while we have the vouchers to pay the CDRPC bills, I simply waited until the insurance thing was cleared out before I moved any of that money. So we'll draw those checks this week. And that's pretty much it. Any questions?
Okay, then, there's no question, we'll go on to vendor invoices.
There's just one CDM Smith for the lovely Cross Street Rehab Phase 2 project.
Yes. So we've got Cross Street, Dennis, and let's see. That's it, then we have a motion to,
I'll make a motion.
Gary,
I'll second it.
Andrew, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed, motion carries, so, then the invoices, I think, there's probably gonna be some for goes here soon, we're waiting for things to be dispersed most stuff, we have seen on Carver's.
Yeah, I would
Some
assume.
project, and I think we've had some Arcadis, things, but Arcadis need to get their construction-based services
Right.
dispersable. I think Coase's project is gonna be ready for beneficial use here soon. At least maybe by December.
I don't know, if we'll be that quick, a lot of it will depend upon the delivery time of the rakes, screens and rakes. I'm not sure. Sharon, do you know if that's gonna be coming in anytime soon? In
Is
the
that for,
building?
is that for little C?
Yes,
Yeah, the only holdup on that is actually the generator. At this point, there's a long lead time on a generator. The rest of the stuff, is going to be in and they expect to, be substantially done by the end of the year. 'Cause they're already, yeah,
Okay.
they're rocking and rolling now. Um, they're moving ahead pretty good.
Okay, after everything. The dust clears or whatever, if you get a chance, whatever invoices that you got. Probably ought to send them into the corporation here.
Okay, for Arcadis and for Carver.
Yes,
Okay, I have, I think, one Carver bill because I'm holding the other one until I get the, blessing from Brenda Lee that they've met all their requirements for the DBE stuff. So I sent that all to her at the end of last week. So I'm just waiting for her to respond on that.
we need waiver request, yeah,
Mhm.
which makes sense.
Yep.
You know, most of the stuff are so, it's a precast building and then it's equipment.
Right.
So,
It's hard to.
Yeah.
Yeah.
really,
Yeah. So we got, and we should be getting the last payment on the new project for Cross Street,
Or.
well, actually, if we had anything with Cross Street, that's, National One.
No, and I'll have some more in the project updates area. I'll have some more information on that.
Okay,
You're gonna make us wait.
I could tell us now, I guess. I don't think it's gonna happen before the 15th. Because the liner is gonna take another like 5 or 6 weeks to get here, and then the structure's not getting delivered till the first week of December, and then with the paving and like. So
okay,
I have to request another extension from the EFC stating that information that I got from National Water. So they're gonna do their cleaning and CCTV work next week. That's gonna happen, but the actual like construction of the project will be in the spring. So I just need
So we'll have to send another notice.
to Ryan Walter,
Yeah.
DEC, yeah.
yeah. So,
So just let me know what the new dates are. and I
Okay.
can Create the form, and then we'll just do the e-signature thing worked really well. So we'll just do that from now on.
That was very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
so that, mostly the disbursements, are in regard to the Cross Street and Co's projects, and, I don't know if Cross Street has its participation stuff all squared away yet. National Water Main,
No, I submitted it once. Brenda Lee had a bunch of questions. Wanted to change a lot of things. I sent that back to National Water Main. I think they're still working on getting a second submission together for that, so.
so that's on our ESC disbursements and simulations. Project updates, so we kind of just were talking about, it's gonna be springtime then.
Yeah, and I wanna set that, and I told them when I talked to them on the phone the other day that it's, right out of the gate, they're gonna have the structure and the lining and all that stuff. The materials for it, and I wanna set a date that is realistic. I don't wanna say we're gonna be done by April 30th, I'd like to say, June 1 or June 30, that way we don't have to ask for another extension, everything gets done, they know they have to come right back in the spring, early on. the company that's doing the excavation for National Water Main is Anjo Construction. They're already gonna be working in Troy because they won the bid for the lead service line replacement project. So we'll be already interfacing with them on that project, so we'll have equipment and people and stuff already in town, which will be nice.
I haven't heard that.
Years.
Yeah,
Don't
we
aren't
were
they
all
a
shocked.
tree cutting business?
No,
And Joe, no, they're always, sewer and water.
Mhm.
Okay.
They go back to the seventies.
So do I.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's really.
we're working with John Valano. That
Yeah.
name ring a bell? Yeah,
Oh, yeah,
let's do the pre-construction.
yeah. They broke off, he broke off. Well, I should say broke off. They formed, he was a materials vendor.
Yeah, what was the name of?
And then
Yeah.
John decided do a construction services.
Mhm.
And he got a lot of contracts with Town of Albany. Well, he was in Town of Colony.
Yeah.
And then he gained a lot of his experience.
Mhm.
And from the mid-70s, he was a contractor in Gahoes on a couple of long bids on water line installation.
Oh, okay, okay,
So, yeah,
good.
I didn't even know John was still alive.
Yeah. Yeah, I think this might be John Villano Jr.
Yeah, I was gonna say this, he doesn't look that old,
Oh, okay.
so yeah, right, it must be the junior.
Yeah, and then it's Tim Buckman.
Yep.
So that's interesting, what they've got for lead services work in there, and
Right, and they're also gonna do the, the 30 feet of replacement work and, setting the structure and that stuff on this project. So,
we kind of heard about goes, so I don't think they have any problem with meeting consumers, so that's good.
The only other thing, Mike is on, how, have you heard anything from, EFC on the Manor Avenue sewer line?
We have. Seth has drafted a response letter and I just have to review it.
Okay,
So that'll be going back in shortly.
all right, good, then maybe they can approve it, you guys can get into design, and then Sharon can request the additional 25,000 that they'll hold back.
Right, once they approve the report.
Yep.
Yeah, they're poking around, like the only challenging thing is DEC's asking larger questions, shall we say, and we have to kind of try and reel them back in and say, guys, that's not the intent of this project. They're starting to ask questions like, well, can you tell us what the actual capacity of the system is? And it's like, guys, we're trying to remove bottlenecks in the system, not redesign the system. We're lucky if these systems can convey 5-year storms typically,
Yeah.
So they're trying to apply net, they're implying that, we should be we should be looking at design standards for the system. And it's like, guys, you're way overshooting here in terms of what this project is about.
Yeah, you're improving the situation,
Right, and the other thing is you're dealing with a city. We're all in the same boat.
yeah.
I'm sorry, these are old systems.
Well, that's it. And we're lucky if they provide a 5-year event, and they're like, oh, well, does this account for future climate change? And it's like, guys, the system provides what it's going to provide. We're
Yeah.
removing bottlenecks in the system. We're not redesigning this whole system.
yeah, extreme events will still flood over
Yes.
flood over the system.
Yeah.
Go
Yep.
over the flow.
That's one of the options for me on the app, when I'm reporting my, is it just over or is it dedicated to a pipe somewhere?
Eventually, it's at the surface, but
Yeah,
we're trying to have it be stormwater at the surface, and that's, and when it's,
yeah. Right.
that's our goal. Okay, well, I'd like to move on to the engagement letter. We have a proposed engagement letter from Joe Scott. housing us to help us do an amendment to the existing IMA. That would, take into account the matrix of responsibility that has continued, involvement of both communities and, operation maintenance cost of Beaver Creek and both of those facilities. And so that, if we get them engaged, then we would do the modification. The existing IMA just really wasn't meant to get into some of the nitty-gritty details of how the, how that would work. You know, how we would, bill and collect from the communities, whether we can go through the CDRPC and corporation, or whether they be just some separate way that would be distributed. I think we already have kind of done that with the IMA for Cohoes and Rensselaer, the separate IMA for some of the financings that we've done prior to the.
Oh, the credit project.
Yeah, so we already do like some payments for debt service to Cohoes and Rensselaer. Based on our percentage of the debt service. I would think this would be some sort of a similar similar thing. We've used the same formula for percentages, and have operational costs of our facilities. Based on the accounting of our costs. So,
Is Joe's kind of gonna stick around, for this thing to be completed?
well, he's mentioning a couple of associates. But he's signed.
Yeah. He's lurking. He's still lurking.
Yeah. So if there are any objections, I guess I'd be looking for a resolution here that it says. Engagement.
That attach?
Where is that?
No, it's not attached.
Which word is it? I said the roughing.
The engagement letter for Hodgson and Russ. I can bring it up.
It's not, no, it's West.
Yeah, that's what.
Western Company is one, we've approved them as an auditor, this just a notice to the board that we had begun
I
the
think-
audit for 2019.
Yeah, I think a lot of things in the Hutchinson Rose letter is in regard to their disclosing that they were.
Yeah.
For some of the communities. So,
So you have a potential conflict of interest because of the different communities, but because of the IMAs, I think that solves that problem. And I think that's partly because of what the.
Yeah, I just wanna see.
$235 an hour for new associates to $885 an hour for senior partners. Joe's time will be billed at $500 an hour.
Chris Canada and Shannon. Chris Canada is all over business.
Yeah.
Joey's as well, and Shannon, we've worked with on all of our bond issuances.
So it's pretty standard. They have a disclosure of conflicts because they work with the other pool communities.
So it's an hourly.
Yep.
Going rate, do we have a not to exceed number?
I don't think there's a not to exceed.
Do we wanna put something in so, we got an upper limit? And so that they'll have to notify us when they're near that limit? It's not an open, and
I'm trying to make it 1,000 or what do you mean?
yeah, I'd feel better if there was something like that.
I think that's good. Do we use purchase orders with this?
Pardon me?
Has a corporation been issuing purchase orders, like if we?
No.
We haven't been doing it, so.
No, because there's. The CSO Corporation actually by itself does not pay any bills or engage any vendors. Other than CD, ACC. It's all passed through.
Yeah.
But you realize that at $20,000 top line, you're talking about 1 week's work. Full time, one person, one, that's 40 hours at $500 an hour.
It's not gonna be very common.
No, it's not, yeah. They should get done. Well,
Done issuances for us.
Yeah, the majority of that work is gonna be done at that lower rate. It's not gonna be done at Joe Scott's rate.
I'm just pointing it out, Mike, that's all.
Well,
Yeah.
was this set up to be with the full communities though, and not the CDRC, so. I think I'd be done with the signature, is it, my signature?
Yep, pool communities.
So,
And all the other just Co's and Green Island.
because they're,
Those are
Waiver of
conflicts.
potential conflicts of interest.
From a financial standpoint, I think it's appropriate to have a not to exceed clause.
Yeah,
Um,
not to exceed it without further than. Further authorization.
All right, that's a good motion.
So with that modification, have a resolution.
This is so they're gonna work on creating a new IMA for moving forward for the operations and maintenance of the,
They're going to.
Beaver Creek.
okay,
Work on an amendment of the existing.
okay,
And the reason why we wanted to do that
Mhm.
is to go back to our elections.
Mhm.
It would be better to be working. Cigarettes.
It's just an amendment. Not anything
and that
new.
would be something that would go to like our mayor's
The
office.
signatories on the INA.
Okay,
Yes.
yeah, cause I don't,
And some of them,
takes it off of me, puts it onto them, that I didn't agree to pay for something for the next into infinity,
because the original INA, the electeds are different, so.
right,
Yes.
okay,
um,
yeah, I think that's reasonable.
Okay. May I have a motion?
I make a motion.
A second.
Opposed? Motion carries. And then I had an outline. I just wanted to go over quickly because it seems like, yeah, this it's got a bunch of different things that was supposed to get done with. I wasn't sure whether we were doing anything that all these documents said we were supposed to be doing. Like the board. We're supposed to have like oaths of office, but I'm not sure anything. Even that, being a member.
Mm-hmm.
And some sort of acknowledgement of fiscal duties. Which, when we started off in 2015, we had a binder that had a.
Yeah.
And I think we talked about having that binder be online on our
Mhm.
website, and maybe it is, and, but if members would need to refresh them. They'd go back and look at what were the printed documents, that. It would be the equivalent of that binder. And then there was, financial disclosures. I think we've been doing our annual financial disclosures. We may be piggybacking on our county form or something.
Mhm.
Yes. So we're doing that. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there's ABO training. And I'm not sure. I think the original thing was you were supposed to take it in your first year of being on the board.
Right.
So I don't know if new members needed to do that, and whether old members needed to do refreshers on ABO training.
What, does it?
Authorities Budget Office.
Yeah.
It's part of that, it's New York State Controllers, thing. So. I just wanted to bring that up. I don't know if, Mark, if we can show us maybe this time or next time, what's available on the,
Oh, sure.
under CSO, newbies website.
There's corporate, we had one page with all the stuff that you're talking about. Let's see. These are all this is the proxy for the printed binder. This is under about policies.
So this stuff, both of office,
There's ABO guidance on the bottom.
ABO guidance, and of course, that's for all different kinds of organizations.
Mhm.
Some of the stuff.
Yeah, we're slightly deficient on compliance at this point. But there's so much compliance.
It's, it's geared towards big and small.
Yeah.
Sometimes like committees and things, if you've got a small board, like we do, usually
Right.
all of us are here for all the committee meetings or all involved in governance and audit and finance. Although at the beginning, we had some board members assigned to audit, some governance and some finance. I think you're supposed to have some people different on audit versus finance. We don't tend to have any separate meetings.
Right.
We don't all just meet here.
Did you guys know that you're on the governance committee?
I also didn't know I was a PE.
Well, you got upgraded.
Okay.
And these have been up to date.
So I think, if you can find your way to the website. It's got lots of information on it about all the various things that we're doing.
I always just usually go to the projects and reports tab on my rock website just to kind of look at that stuff, which is nice. This, maybe I'll dive into a little bit of this. It's fun.
As an alternative to melatonin.
Yes.
Right, you
That's right.
go to the policy documents tab. I want to-
I remember binders like that thick.
Yeah, I mean, there's also the consent order and modifications of consent order. The original IMA. Site. So. Also, I don't know if this is easy to find it, in that binder, there were some things that indicated what board activities are supposed to happen in each month.
There was a schedule budget, committee governance calendar.
Oh, calendars. Oh, no, that was.
That's not it.
It was close. What's the next one? That committee calendar. Yeah,
Ooh,
That's very nice.
so,
my life was so.
Right.
It's a great idea.
Mhm.
Like a duty by month kind
Yeah.
of schedule.
Pay
Yeah.
property taxes. Yeah.
yeah. So that,
Like it.
What month? It's November, right?
Yeah,
So what are we doing?
well, we're supposed to,
Board committee.
one of the things we're supposed to be doing is, for the APO compliance, they have this system they call Paris. Public authorities reporting information system.
Mhm.
Sounds like a nice place to go on vacation, but
Right.
it's really a complicated website that you have to fill out and, I don't know if I guess that'd be a question for,
We're current on that. The plan is that prior to December 31, the same data will be properly uploaded to the Paris website. It comes off of the financial statements, which in this case, the Weston fellow is just starting that audit. There's no way of reviewing it at this meeting because it's not done yet. But my anticipation is we'll have at least a preliminary draft for the next meeting, December 10, I think. A little tight, because this is such a late meeting and that's an earlier meeting. But the Paris report still can be reported even though the audit may not have been approved. Because the data needs to be validated in order to put it into Paris. It's the same problem that a lot of places have with AFRs each year. It's better to do it after the audit. If
Yeah.
The audit can't get done in time with the AFR requirement.
right? And you see on the, I'm from here, it says that we review the audit in December, if not over to November, so.
Exactly. So it's kind of redundancy between the 2 months.
So we should have audit and finance committee meetings. In the next.
Yeah.
Can we just have concurrent meetings of the committees and the board?
We usually do.
Well, we have
I think we have
consecutive
it's
meetings.
Separate, but it's the same time frame. We all,
I think we, yeah, like if we don't need as much discussion then in the full board meeting.
right,
Well, I mean, I have operated with boards, 2 separate boards doing concurrent meetings, so it can be done. I can do a little research and ask somebody.
Yeah, I mean, it usually was, you needed a recommendation from the committee.
right.
So,
Sure, we used to do it audit at, say, 10 o'clock,
And then.
finance at 10:10, and then board meeting at 10:20.
Right. It's kind of ridiculous. Kind of ridiculous, though, if we can do a concurrent meeting.
it's all the same.
Right.
It's
Mm-hmm.
So that, just keeping track of the board activities, that was kind of I'm trying to review this stuff. And kind of outlining it in this one page. So remembering what things we're supposed to do in what time frame, so. Many things, we're supposed to do stuff by the end of December, next month is December, so. I don't think you particularly get. Get your hands slapped about those stuff, but.
They don't, the Paris reports, I think were delivered late last year. They sent a message, but it's, you didn't do this, get to it, is basically what happens. So, but it's best to get it in on or before the 31st of December. It's relatively easy to do. It's just a case of having the data, and we have the data. I don't expect that anything's going to change between what's reported to Westfield and what their output on the audit report will be.
But there are also boxes to check in Paris, saying none of these other points things.
Yeah.
And so we want to make sure we be truthful. So, yeah, on my outline here too, I just wanted to note the compliance schedule. I'm just looking forward, so I don't. We have these different categories of our projects, the BMPs, which we can start with, except for Albany taking care of Liberty over there, Skyler's over there. We're working on those with CHA. Preliminary support to get that. Sewer separation, really we have the hoses matter and.
Right.
So that's just private and sewer separation. It sounds like the program is support is just about improving on. So
And then they'll go right into design. And, we'll be way ahead of this thing.
And that would be good because of, we're just trying to get done before maturity on Troy's plans and we can. Satellite treatment, look at see it goes as the last satellite treatment I mean, that shouldn't have any problem meeting its completion date for next December.
Right.
And tributaries, we talked about the crossway phase 2 is the last, and it's in process, so it's
Right.
probably not gonna meet its completion date, but you'll be doing,
Yeah, I'll get the, homework extension letter together.
Yeah.
Mark and I will collaborate, get a roughly document about that to them.
and the pull side, the pull wide projects has one left on the consent order, and that's the post-construction compliance monitoring plan.
Yep.
Now, its completion date on the modified, consent order is 10/1/2027.
Okay.
But in our Albany's speeds permit, we're required to do that. In this coming up 2026, which then gives us.
Mm.
Gives us a year to do. the-
Here to analyze the data.
Do the report.
Yes.
So that's coming up, and I've been having some discussions within my Albany one department about, we've got a guy who likes to fish on the Hudson River. Really? He's got a boat. And so we might propose to the whole community's board to, technical force account proposal for us to do the boat stuff. We also have some people in our lab that are interested in participating in the project. And we've had some discussion about whether we might set up to do fecal or not, but if not, we'd probably use Adirondack because we're already using them for
Right.
fecal for being free.
Mhm.
And propose to do force count. We may want to see if other communities want to help with the sampling, because these sampling events covering from the Mohawk down to the by the point, it's just a lot of different
Yeah.
locations, and the wastewater treatment plants.
Right, those two. Yeah.
I'm hoping we can get the wastewater treatment plants just to take care of their own.
Yeah, that would be nice.
Samples.
Yeah.
For us.
Yeah, that should be good for help. They gotta do it anyway, but they're permanent.
So, the next item on my list was IMA. I'm not sure that the IMA board, if you haven't had a committee of that in a long time, but the IMA board might be then if there's an amendment to the IMA to meet, we got to a member of the IMA, and if the IMA board needs, we were to catch up in regards to any of our financings, I think that might have been in the jurisdiction of the IMA board. I think they're pretty much sure.
But has there been any new financings since the last IMA board meeting? I mean, the last IMA board meeting was a couple of years ago.
There was talk about whether Troy was gonna do another financing. That was Greg Bold put in financing application. But I wanna just bring that up as we get, I got another part here on my outline. In my 5 here under CDRPC, there's just some things that I wanted just to check out. So board manual updates, we're just looking at stuff that's on the web. So if there's stuff that needs to be updated. Financial reports, we do every month. The budget we've done, whether we need to review the budget. At any particular meeting or have it as a regular item just to discuss, but I think it's brought up in the report. Invoices to communities, I'm not sure where we stand with getting all the invoices to communities.
And a ton of them going out, like that stuff going, that already went to Andrew, and
Yep.
a whole huge batch to go to you guys. Is Chris available? I need to have a conversation with him probably next week.
There's some sort of family emergencies.
Okay, so I'll get in touch with him late next week. I will be a little bit not able starting tomorrow as I'm going in for surgery and that, so I don't know how long before I have use of my arm. But I just want to clear some things with Chris as to, because of some differentiations between, again, the EFC grants versus what we CSO has invoiced, plus some of the old things that need to be invoiced that have been dispersed by EFC. Pre-2017 stuff.
So there's a lot of cleanup. The audit is,
It's ongoing as of right now.
there's a mention in the documents about annual reports, so I'm not sure exactly what the annual report.
We can look into that. Generally speaking, the annual report's going to be your audit information as it presents with any notes.
So
That's kind of one and the same. The
That's-
audit is the process, the annual report is the output.
so, what's the company that helps that? And the combination, our accounting and their.
Correct.
Then DC reports, I think we're all up to date on DC reports, we just,
Yes,
updating
love,
that.
love putting together reports.
Banking, we haven't talked about banking in a long time, we banked with Pioneer and.
Mhm.
They do a great job for us. They make everything a lot easier than other banks. Particularly dealing with the banks that the communities that have Pioneer as their bank as well. It becomes extremely efficient to move money back and forth.
So we're happy with, bank, insurance, we've.
Quality insurance, this little hiccup this year kind of makes me wonder about the broker, not the insurance policy. So it's a question that we'll see what happens going forward. I don't think it's critical and I don't think it's a real problem. I think it's just a hiccup.
Okay, we talked a little bit about Paris compliance. And the website, SharePoint, in terms of SharePoint being up to date with everybody's invoices. And so forth is, I guess that's a question. We're trying to get all the disbursements from all the different financings into SharePoint so the town can see everything that's been expired. Both the short-term financing and the long-term financing to see what got paid. And disbursements. So if there's anything missing, we try to make sure it's in that. In the SharePoint, I don't know how much the other members use the SharePoint site, I use it. And Karen Wilkes at my office uses it, and Tom uses it, and
Yeah, I don't think I've ever been on that. But anytime I get like any disbursement information from those folks, I usually copy you or Karen, so at least it's making it, you have, the most current copies of all the, cost summary.
yeah.
And if we were missing disbursements, as Tom was going through this process, I just reached out to Paul Johnson and asked him for the
Right.
export.
Yeah, because they have the ability to print out with the,
They can print, but they can't export to Excel, which is
they,
mind blowing to me.
so they can't share the data that they.
You can input data.
Mhm.
You can input all the data you want. You just can't get it out
Whoa.
in a format that is reasonable.
In the format they give us, Mark was very good about getting this completed from EFC, everything they have. He directly contacted Paul. And then Mark also converted it from the PDF versions to an Excel version, which allows me to do a lot more work, a lot more efficiently. Because I still need to hunt and peck on some of these things the way EFC is reporting, and they do group them by the projects. But then there's no continuity between one disbursement, the next disbursement. They're all somewhat different in what they're doing. And the identifiers are specific to the vendor's invoice, not necessarily a pay app number, which they become interchangeable and sometimes. And then because of the EFC application of grants differently, I can't search on dollar amounts, which is usually the easiest way to find an invoice.
It's nuanced.
Yeah, so what I've done is taken what Mark did and then applied our invoice numbers to match the vendors so that there's one template that gives me all the information. And from that, I then have to print the individual invoices to send out, as I did with Andrew, you got a stack of them.
Yeah, I'm looking for a couple more, I think.
Yeah, there's a bunch of, the next batch will be the Cohoes invoices that are not linked to EFC.
Okay,
And that's another chunk of change. And then after that, I think you got all the Albany invoices in that.
I didn't
communique I
get a
sent.
chance to look personally yet, but Marion, who does all the accounts payable, I gave her this here.
Yeah,
She
which is 2.7 million roughly.
Yeah, but who's looking for copies of these?
Yes, those are the ones that there wasn't. She's looking for those invoices. Okay, so.
Yeah, those
alright.
ones and just that first one there, she was.
Okay.
Didn't see that in the. It
Oh,
might be there, I didn't look yet.
I thought it was a separate batch. There were 2 batches. Let me double check.
Okay.
But that,
We'll converse a little bit later today about that. I'll go back and look myself.
Okay.
Also.
so it just adds up to quite a bit of money going, being re-invoiced. Now, many of these invoices were delivered over the years.
Well, that's where, having everything up to date and.
Exactly.
And SharePoint, they can go back. Let's see. Yeah, sometimes it's the way things are named and it's easy. I can see what's fair. Sometimes there's some voice. It might be unique. It doesn't, because we're always trying to say, hey, if we're paying on day up 15, did we do 13 and 14? Something like that. It's like, how do we know we have to, we got all the invoices covered if there's something. If there isn't something that in the name or in the way the invoice number is, it tells you. CHA, if Mike Miller's listed, CHA always has a numbering system that you can see this is invoice 1 against this project 2, 3. Other consultants, they have just a random number that you know, it's for the invoice. And unless you pick up somehow by some other number, a date or something, you know.
Exactly. The good information is that unique invoice numbers are de rigueur in any industry. If I want you to pay me money, I have to give you an invoice with a specific identifier that is unique to that invoice. The problem happens is when 3 or 4 different vendors are using similar invoice structures. And so you may have, if you're searching invoice numbers in a database, you may find 3 or 4 invoices with the same number, all from different vendors. And that's a complicating factor. So things, the more complex invoice numbers like the one CHA issues are actually easier on my side of the world.
Yeah, so skipping down to number 9 on my outline list, I just wanted to list the EFC financing that wasn't started that. Like Albany's first launch, that's went long-term and there's nothing available, so that, you know, so in terms of trying to reconcile where that money went, that could, you know, all that is done. Our second tranche, we still have $224,000 that we're trying to get the last money out of EFC disbursements, and the same with the Beaver Creek is the 02. The 04 is our last tranche, and you can see there's $6.6 million still available. We're not going to be using all that because we don't have that much project.
Yeah.
Which means we're going to leave some grant on the table, but we don't need to spend the money.
Yeah.
Right.
We don't need to spend the money. And the same you see on the Troy, where 0501, there's $4 million still available. That's why we had this discussion about whether Troy bringing another tranche.
Right.
It's you know, even though you could say there's real money that is available that you could get with the other tranche, there's a lot of grant money still left on these final projects because Albany has go money and we have money. That's why our numbers is so. It may still be that even if we could go forward with an 03 for Troy, that they not make.
Right.
So it means that you have another financing to close on and
Yeah.
administer
Mhm.
if you don't need that money. And I'm not sure whether EFC would even want you to do that if you could still have a lot of money left to
Right.
Right.
hold one. So. And the Beaver Creek financings for Troy goes in one of the yeah, probably zero, they look long term, and there's zero. So we're getting down to the last few projects that we are getting down to having all the EFC kind of figured out, what they paid on, so. You know, the next year, I hope we can just clean up on the accounting so that there's no, liabilities left between communities and things that we have to keep on there.
Well, we want to make sure there's no old liabilities. I think any like the post-construction lines billing will still occur and things like that.
And then there's still to figure out what communities that didn't do it, see financing and whether. I think Tom was hoping to get the stuff paid by EFC figured out before going to the stuff that you're gonna be financed without new debt.
It's much easier for the municipality at Marion or Chris or someone looking at this from the standpoint of. Here's what I was paid by EFC or dispersed to by EFC, and here's the bill to CSO. If they match, it makes life a lot easier for the community to make the payment. If there's just a bill from CSO, where's the money coming from?
Yeah, that's what the city treasurer normally gets a bill and it's like invoices. And then we'll pay. That's if we're working on a more amorphous type of to and from,
Well, and the batch of information I sent to Troy and then Albany will get the same batch of data. It takes all of our outstanding invoices, those that have not yet been paid, as well as those that have been paid, and matches them to the EFC disbursement on one spreadsheet. Then coming to here's the money that was received by EFC and not yet paid over to Albany CSO for this invoice. It's an Excel spreadsheet that I put together. And then at the end, basically a list of here's all the bills to be paid for whatever project to whatever community and a request to make that payment. That's the way I've structured it, and it seems to make sense.
Yeah,
You're the one that's seen it.
I like it. It's very nice.
Yeah, it's just a lot of detail in a large Excel workbook, but that all links together.
yeah, being a very big screen.
Well, either that or you have to have a very tedious mind.
Yeah.
Maybe a screen like that.
But this big.
Even me. Right.
Well, I did a similar report for, I worked with one of the fire districts in the area and I did a payables report for them and the commissioner who I happen to know real well, he was a little older than I went. You gotta make this bigger. It was a printout of a screen. And so the print was relatively small and not much smaller than what we see here, but it was like, no, it's gotta be bigger.
Yeah.
I said, well, then you gotta buy a bigger printer because
Right.
there's no paper.
That fits into this. Yeah.
Yeah.
Quick question. See, Sharon, this question is actually on the WIA grant that we've got for Little C. Is that grant just reimbursable at the end, or can you draw down on it during the course of construction?
It's
I believe I can draw down during course of construction, but I still have to wait until Brenda Lee says I'm okay to go.
yeah, it's not closed. So not closed.
Okay. Wow. By the time you close on the grant, it could
The
be
project will be
operational.
done.
Okay.
It's. I think they have everything they need, they say it's gonna be first quarter of 2026. I don't know, they got pretty slow with it, closes. Anyway, moving on to the joint venture team, we got the dose response study that is due January first, that's big, they're working on that. Then we have the wet weather operating plan due May first, so those are both going to be big C. Beaver Creek, the river project, so those, and then, you know, whatever we're gonna want it, then if for the post-construction compliance monitoring, if we do that with some combination of force accounting, joint venture team. You know, they've done all the analysis and reviewed the data previously and calculating the geometric means and all that stuff.
So we've gotta actually be ready to go by May,
Yeah,
so we've only really got 6 more months, really,
Right.
before we're supposed to be.
Yeah.
yeah. So we gotta get to, we really have to get our plan together now.
Yeah. It's really, 6 months is gonna go quick.
Yeah, very much. Yeah, it'll be February. Like, all right, we're starting.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, and there's no, EFC money involved in this, they have deemed post-construction compliance monitoring is, they're really, so we don't have to. Participation,
MWBE and DBE, yeah.
it'll just be, cost issue.
It's just verification of results that resulted from the engineering, original engineering reports, yeah.
Are we adding that also to the IMA amendment?
I think, yeah, any further ongoing costs of, like if we're gonna, if we have any follow-up with post-construction compliance, please. We get to operational costs or additional capital costs, so you have satellite treatment facilities.
Yeah, which actually wouldn't surprise me if we get nailed on the tributaries.
The tributaries, I guess we don't know what DC will be interested in after we do our post-construction compliance monitoring. I guess it depends on which of the sampling locations show.
And what it shown, yeah.
Because we had from the Crunkhill and the True and the Armsco.
Yeah.
But that, those aren't necessarily within a purview control. I guess at this point, at least Albany, the True and the Norman Skill have actual USGS string gauge stations. So besides, I think previously, when the original monitoring is done, one gauging station, so you couldn't tell what the load was. If you were saying a high number, but you can actually know what the flow was.
Right.
True Creek or Norman Skill. Then, so at least, I think we have more information to be able to judge the impact of those tributaries. So that, then we talked about Hudson Ross, that's our engagement, Beaver Creek, we have gotten our screens prepared and our screens have been working okay, even with all the leaf storm, so that's been a good thing. We pretty much had to customize some of the equipment on screens. This company GNA that was involved in the supply of the screens, they seem to be kind of less of a picture now, and JW Lighting is more representing these screen companies. I think the screen companies too, kind of out of Germany and Womack and all kind of under the same flag now with this company in Germany. So we think folks in January line are going to be assisting with with us doing that in the future. And one of the main things we're doing at the moment is we're having some heat installed in the infilling chamber. But it doesn't seem like we're gonna get that quite done in time for the winter, as we're just. The big shop drawing that we use
Yeah,
now and they're told it's attempting toward the. Delivery time, so
oh, gotcha, yeah,
we'll get it just in time for spring.
exactly, right, right,
But that was a concern with these wiping mechanisms on the screen. Cause we got the, this error change in the area, it's like class 1 to 1 area. We weren't gonna heat that area originally, it's like. Right. I think the couple is really. Some of the maybe sewage funds are gonna be okay, but because we're doing 5 to 6 air exchanges. It's the same temperature as outside.
right, you're bringing in so much fresh air that it's just,
Yeah.
yeah,
Not for
freezing.
50 degrees. you're
Right.
talking
Yeah.
Below 32.
Yeah, and because we're required to screen, we don't have to disinfect in the winter.
Mhm.
So we have to disinfect from May 1st to,
Yeah.
Okay,
but we have to screen year round. And there's even a temperature probe with the screens to tell it not to wipe. If the temperature gets too low.
oh,
And if
okay,
the screens don't wipe, then they just clog up.
I was gonna make it, they get caught, yeah, very quickly.
So that's the situation. So we're trying to work out too, how this wet weather, and now that we have some operational experience in wet weather operating plan to be. We're going to be tweaked to kind of. Show how we actually need to operate. And one of the things that comes up about disinfecting is. If you're designed to disinfect at 100 MGE, what if you get down to where yard goes? And so we try to consider that.
right.
If we got 2 contact tanks, if we, before it gets too low, should we run 1 contact tank?
Right.
You need to bump up the chlorine more if you don't, to try to maintain the chlorine, or do we can bypass the 3rd Avenue. Do we send more to 3rd Avenue if we can, depending on whether the south line is surrounding. There's a lot of different factors to consider there, how we can operate and maximizing flow in the treatment plant to treating as much as you can do the contact tanks. So we're working on that. And I think that's it for my list, so I appreciate people.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just going through. And we putting ourselves to something.
Yep.
26 in. Any other discussion?
No, we're good.
And then we can have a motion to adjourn.
Okay. I'll
Motion
second.
made to adjourn.
Okay, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed?
Time to go back to water roll, what's going on?
Happy, Thanksgiving.
You drive right by.
Happy Thanksgiving, everybody.
Yeah, have a.
Have a nice day, guys.